Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Good Feeling Film, and this is the fourth episode of my weekly podcast I'm doing on my channel. So let's get right into it. I'm back again. I've been to the movies a couple of times. Something very exciting happened last week, and I'm going to be talking about that pretty soon on my channel. But for now, I want to keep it a surprise. Well, it's not really a surprise. So I went to go see Captain America Civil War at a fan screening, and I'm going to put out a non-spoilers review pretty soon on my channel. And then once the movie releases um, to the audience, I'm going to do my spoilers review. So, talking about Captain America Civil War, the first topic I want to talk about is superhero fatigue. So, on Thursday night, I went to go see Captain America Civil War. And to me, I was super excited. I couldn't wait. I was anxious. I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect because I never went to one of these fan screenings. And when I got there was already a huge line of people waiting to see the movie, wearing Captain America shirts, just huge fans of these movies and these characters. And it just got me thinking, like, you know, people still come out and watch these movies day in and day out, Even for Batman v Superman, the movie that I thought was alright, didn't live up to my expectations at all. But lots of people went. The first night I went, it was a packed theater. And some people I've heard online talk about that they're getting tired. And one key example of that is Spider-Man, how, in the last 10 years, Spider-Man has been rebooted 3 times. So, does it seem excessive? To me personally, it doesn't because I love superheroes, right? But for like an average fan of just like movies who go to see a couple movies a year, these superhero movies might seem kind of like redundant. And, if people don't know the difference like between a DC, Disney Marvel, a Sony Marvel, and a Fox Marvel, they just see them all as the same, thing. They all think it's the same thing. But in reality, it's not, and that's what some people, I guess, need to learn because now it's even more confusing with the whole Spider-Man, Sony and Marvel hooking up, and now Spider-Man's part of the MCU, and then we have the X-Men over at Fox. But everyone just regular people think it's all Marvel because that's what comes up um, before the movie shows. The Marvel logo thing runs, and people assume it's a Marvel film. So if you look at the next couple of years to come, um, this even goes back to a discussion I was having with my dad, where he asked me, "Do I really need to go see the movie 3 weeks before they come out?" And I said, "Yes, Dad. This is a big deal because you rarely get chances like this. At least for me, this was my first fan screening, so I get to check that off my movie fan bucket list. But when when it comes to like release dates and stuff, I knew Captain America Civil War was coming out last year. And my dad was just like, we could just like pretend and wait that the movies aren't coming out and then watch them on demand or on Blu-ray or something. And I was like, Dad, I know the release dates for the next 5 Marvel movies in the next 5 years. So that won't work on me because I know when the stuff's coming out. In August, I got Suicide Squad. November, I got Doctor Strange. December, I got Star Wars. I can't just like forget about when they're coming out, If it's like a smaller movie, I guess I could forget when it comes out sometimes. But with these big blockbuster superhero films, it's pretty hard to forget. So the question is brought up is, are these becoming too much? I saw 2 superhero movies in the span of less than a month. And for me, it's not enough because I love movies and I see like everything. I've seen war movie marathons, and do war movies get oversaturating? No, there's dramas coming out every single month. Every month there's a comedy, so people don't really like complain that these regular genres are being oversaturated. But with superhero films, I think they're special in that some may be more of dramatic pieces and darker thrillers, maybe like a DC, for example. And some, like Marvel, have a great mix of action and drama and a lot of comedy. So to me, it just makes them refreshing. Now, if you just get bored of the characters, like just plainly get bored of them, then I could see where you're like, oh, another one of these movies, another Avengers, another Captain America. Then that's to you. But I love these characters, and I'll always go back and keep watching them. Maybe until a couple of the movies fail in a row, and at the rate Marvel's going now, I don't see them failing anytime soon. DC, on the other hand, I'm not saying that they're failing at all because they've made a bunch of money on Batman v Superman, and that's what counts to them. Critic ratings and reviews don't really matter unless, unless that dries up the money. But the money isn't drying up anytime soon. And people are excited for Suicide Squad, even though Batman v Superman gave them a bad taste in their mouth. I'm still excited for Suicide Squad. That last trailer got me really excited. And a bunch of fans that I know that didn't really like Batman v Superman are still pumped for Suicide Squad because it could be multiple things like the director I trust more, the cast. So and then later in May you also have X-Men Apocalypse. So in reality you have Captain America comes out May 6th, and then a couple weeks later you have X-Men. So it's crazy to believe that, especially in today's day and age, we have this many superhero films coming out at once in 1 year. And it's just gonna keep growing and growing because DC added two more movies to their slate. So that means in 2018 it's gonna be three Marvel movies and three DC movies. Who knows if Fox is gonna put out a Marvel movie, another X-Men? It's pretty likely since that's their biggest franchise at this point. Like this is getting crazy, crazy packed the year. Also brings up a lot of other questions like when are these films going to come out, because there's so many coming out. The box office is going to get very, very competitive in the coming years because summer is filling up, and that's why you've seen a lot of movies like Deadpool, for example, drop in February, because if that film would have dropped in June, it would have been competing against three other big movies as well. Frank, that being said, I still think it would have done good numbers, but not nearly as good as it did with it being in February. So that also makes me think, January is considered like the shithole of the movie year, where all these low level comedies and horror films come out. So are movies gonna move towards those periods? Like January is kind of garbage. September is pretty garbage too. So those months are ripe for the taking by these big companies and movies. So we could see that playing out. But to be honest, me personally, superhero movies aren't. I'm not fatigued at all. I want to keep seeing them actually, because especially if they're good. These movies are also pretty long, so I could see why some people wouldn't want to sit around watching a 2.5 hour movie that isn't as good as they hope, like Batman v Superman. But to each their own. So yeah, that was just my little discussion on superhero fatigue, because it just go when going to see that fan screening really made me think, because there's still a bunch of people there revved up and excited to go and see this movie. So I don't think superhero fatigue is that big of a deal right now. It's a couple people feel it, but the mass audience definitely is not feeling it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you're feeling some fatigue from these superhero movies or not. So with that being said, let's get right into Act 2, the news of the week. Now, we have a lot of news this week, especially a lot coming out of CinemaCon, which is like this big convention where all the big studios go. It's out in Las Vegas, I believe, and they release news about their upcoming films and projects in the future. So a lot of news dropped. The first one being kind of, not the, I wouldn't say not the greatest news, but not the most important news revolving around the new Transformer movie, and that they got a new lead. So the old lead, which is Mark Wahlberg from the last movie, he isn't going anywhere, but they're just introducing a new actress to, be next to him, I guess. And that would be Isabella Moner, and she's from Nickelodeon. So I have no idea who this girl is. I have no idea. I've never seen her before. Um, but excuse me, her character bio says she is a street smart tomboy who grew up an orphan and was raised in a foster care, and she counts a small transformer as her only friend until she meets Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade Yeager. So I don't really know where this is going. These Transformers movies coming up, I'm not really looking forward to, because the last ones just didn't cut it out for me. And the rate that Michael Bay is going at, they said that they got a big team of writers, these great writers, to come in and make a good quality script. But if Michael Bay's still in the directing chair, he's just gonna throw that out the window and do it his own style, which is big explosions, lots of CGI, lots of slow motion, lots of explosions. So I don't really know where this girl's gonna fit into that, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't even know when the next Transformers is coming out. I'm pretty sure next year. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Next news is pretty exciting, actually, and that is the next Kingsman movie has cast Channing Tatum and Elton John in roles. So just the last podcast, I talked about Pedro Pascal joining the cast of Kingsman: The Golden Circle, but now it seems like uh, Channing Tatum and Sir Elton John have been cast. Channing Tatum announced this on his Twitter that he's joining the Golden Circle, and he's probably going to play a statesman agent, just from speculation, and, be like a counterpart to Taron Egerton's character, Eggsy. And then Sir Elton John actually was cast in a mysterious role, but we don't know what it is. But apparently it's said to be a major role. So to me, Elton John, especially in this world of Kingsman where the villains are always like these cuckoo, like crazy villains, like Samuel Jackson was, and then he had his lead henchman with the razor blade legs lady. I can see Sir Elton John being like a crazy sidekick to Julianne Moore's character, who's going to be the villain. So I think that might be pretty cool. Um, but like this also brings up the question that this movie is stacked. This is an ensemble cast. You have Taron Egerton, obviously. Mark Strong's probably coming back. Julianne Moore. You have Pedro Pascal, Halle Berry, now Channing Tatum, and Sir Elton John. This cast is growing, so we'll have to see and wait and see how Matt Vaughn deals with all these big stars in one movie. But I think he could get it done. I mean, he did it with Kick-Ass, so this seems like a walk through the park for Matt Vaughn. All right, up next is a very exciting news, especially for me, because the search for the young Han Solo is keeping on going, and apparently Alden Ehrenreich is leading the charge for the young Han Solo role. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. I really don't know how to say it properly. But yeah, Alden, this kid was the best part about Hail Caesar. And that was a movie I was really looking forward to. And I didn't really know too much about him. But after I left that movie, all I could think about was his character. He's been in other movies such as Beautiful Creatures, which, wasn't the greatest. And Blue Jasmine. So, I'm excited for this Jean Han Solo movie because it is Star Wars, obviously, duh. But at the same time, I still get this feeling like no one could play Harrison Ford and Han Solo the same, no matter who they get. And this Alden, he isn't my first pick, but I don't hate him. I obviously want to see Taron Egerton play not Harrison Ford, Han Solo. But this kid, I wouldn't be upset if they cast this kid, actually, because I have confidence in Lord and Miller to do great things with this movie, and whoever they cast as young Han Solo. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this movie, and whoever is cast as young Han Solo, Just it's gonna be difficult, but I feel like they're gonna get it done. All right. Next is more news out of CinemaCon. Despicable Me 3 is happening. It's coming out next year, and they just revealed the villain and plot details about the movie. I like the first two Despicable Me movies. The first one I obviously like a lot better than the second one. I like the character of Gru and Steve Carell's interpretation of him. I think they're fun movies. They're really funny. The Minions wasn't. I really didn't like that movie at all. But hopefully they come back in Despicable Me 3 in their essential role as these side characters. So they say the plot will involve a sibling rivalry between Gru and his long lost identical twin, and they're both being voiced by Steve Carell, which is pretty awesome. Although his identical twin in the picture that was released, he's skinny and has hair, and he's also an 80s lover. And he hates being mocked, and he basically plans world domination because if you dominate the world, then no one can really mock you. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna check it out in the movie theaters, I guess, but we'll just have to wait and see. I've been saying that a lot. I don't know why I'm saying we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, just anyway. All right, the animated Grinch movie has found its voice. So this is gonna be the first animated Grinch since I think the original that came out. They did that motion capture one with Jim Carrey a while ago. But now Universal is coming back with another animated one, reamped, to kind of look like the Lorax. If you guys saw that movie, that's a very enjoyable movie actually. So yeah, and they cast Benedict Cumberbatch to do the voice of the Green Dude, and I think this is a really good choice. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is gonna do a great voice for the Grinch. I'm gonna, he did work for Smog, so I don't. He's not a novice at voice acting. So yeah, this movie is set to be released on November 10th, 2017. And now some kind of disappointing news, but not really. It's just very, very concerning. That's the word. And that is that Disney is making a live action Peter Pan movie, or at least they're planning on making one. And what are they thinking, really? Like, did they not learn that Pan was complete garbage last year? That was my most hated movie of last year. I couldn't even get through 30 minutes of it. But at the same time, this is Disney we're talking about. And I have confidence in Disney. I've seen The Jungle Book, and it is amazing. It's pure gold. I love it. It's my favorite Disney live action movie up to date. Then you have Cinderella, which I also adored. That was a great movie. And then you have Alice in Wonderland, which I wasn't a huge fan of, and Maleficent, which was also kind of mediocre for me. But they're going good. They're going good, and they have also got Pete's Dragon, which comes out later this year. And they've gotten the director and writer from Pete's Dragon, David Lowery and Toby Howbrooks, to do the work on the Peter Pan movie. So at one side of me is very concerned that it's too early, especially since the last Peter Pan movie was pretty hated by most people and failed totally at the box office. But also, it's Disney. It's not some other studio. So these guys know how to tell that story, and I feel like they're gonna do it right. Even though the general movie audience might think what, another Peter Pan movie? We don't this is too early. But I got confidence in Disney. They got this. I wonder when it's gonna be released though. Hopefully not in the next 2 years, maybe 2018, 2019, around there. I'd much rather see a couple of other live action movies like an Aladdin. Obviously, Beauty and the Beast is coming, which I'm very much looking forward to. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Why am I keep saying that? I need a new word. I need a new catchphrase. Anyway, very big exciting news. I got 3 pieces of news here relating to the same movie, and that is the Spider-Man reboot. The title and image was revealed. So Spider-Man now being under the umbrella of the MCU. The new Spider-Man makes his debut in Civil War, which, like I said before, I've seen, and Spider-Man was outstanding. I can't even begin to describe. I don't want to give away any spoilers. Um, but yeah, check out for my full review of Civil War, and I'll tell you exactly how I felt about the new Spider-Man. But yeah, however, in 2017, his own movie comes out, and we now know it's going to be called Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not too thrilled with this title, actually. I think it's pretty childish and too playful, like, oh yeah, Homecoming. But I've seen people on Twitter discuss it, and they have, it's got meanings. Homecoming since he's in high school, and the homecoming dance or whatever, and also that he's coming home to Marvel. I get it. I get the wordplay and stuff, but at the same time, I'm still not a big fan of it. It might grow on me eventually once I see, what they're going for in the movie. I just don't I just pray and hope that the last act of the movie is like the big boss fight and he comes and crashes the homecoming party and Spider-Man has to save all the kids. Um, but yeah, I hope that doesn't isn't what happens in the movie at all. Something like the Spectacular Spider-Man obviously is what people were gunning for and were hoping that it was going to be called, but it wasn't. It's called Homecoming. And even though I'm not a big fan of the title doesn't mean the movie is going to suck. And I definitely have my full 100% confidence in Marvel and Sony to team up and bring us a great Spider-Man movie. The last really great Spider-Man movie I don't think it's been since Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not great, and the first one was pretty good, but it's not my favorite. And then obviously Spider-Man 3 wasn't that great, and Spider-Man 2 is considered by a lot of people one of the greatest comic book movies ever. So it's been a couple of years since a really great Spider-Man has come on screen. So I'm very excited to see this movie. Also in Spider-Man news, Michael Keaton is in talks to play the villain in the Spider-Man, and this is very exciting to me because I love Michael Keaton. In the last couple of years, Michael Keaton has resurfaced as one of the truly great actors that he is. Ever since him being Batman, he's been a great. He was Beetlejuice. I would love to see Michael Keaton in another superhero movie as a villain. Can you imagine? They're just Sony and Marvel have been in talks, so there's no confirmation. But reports are saying he would most likely play Vulture. Now, I can already see it. The comparisons to his Birdman character in Birdman, and Vulture. That would be pretty funny. But I think he could pull it off. I really see him, as like an old grizzled villain like Vulture, and I think I would be a perfect villain for the new Spider-Man, as he's not like one of his biggest and most menacing villains. Obviously, and hopefully, they'll cast their gosh, what's his name? The guy who plays Green Goblin. Yeah, that kid. Um, Hopefully they bring like in a Doc Ock or something. Also, Craven was another villain that was said to might show up in the movie, since Craven's like a low level, hunter who hunts for Spider-Man, really. So I think it would be a great choice for either Craven or Vulture, especially since we haven't seen them in any of the Spider-Man movies. I don't want to see Green Goblin right off the bat, or a Sandman or something like that. So yeah, Vulture, thumbs up for me. Also in Spider-Man news, two other roles for the movie were cast. Two of Peter's classmates. One is cast Laura Harrier, who is basically an unknown. She's been in a few things as the TV show One Life to Live, which I don't watch, so I don't really know her that well. But what I am excited for is they cast Tony Revolori in in a role, and he is a very young actor. I think he's probably the same age as Tom Holland. Actually, I think they're 19, and he's been in two really great movies, The Grand Budapest Hotel and Dope, and I really loved him in Dope. So yeah, I think that kid has great acting chops, and I feel like he makes a great addition to the Spider-Man movie. All right, up next we have also news that was very It's being talked about a lot recently and is very controversial to lots of fans, and that is that James Cameron announced there will be four Avatar sequels coming in the next what is that one in the next couple of years, you know. Um, so yeah, he said this at CinemaCon, and he was originally planning three sequels, I believe, uh, but then he changed it to four because he said the story called for it. For it, but you know, James Cameron, when he sets his mind to something, he does it. And you know, he's been gone since the first Avatar, but he's been planning these movies like crazy. You know, he's written all of these scripts. He's met with a bunch of writers. This man is very dedicated to his work. You know, he spends most of most of his life underwater in submarines, checking out, you know, coral reefs and stuff. So, um, but the question is, do people really want to see four of these things? Like, is it a bit of overkill? Me personally, I like the first Avatar. I haven't rewatched it since it came out, so I might have to revisit it. You know, I still remember a lot about it. You know, the blue guys with the big robots and the flying dragon things that they connect their hair tails to. But I don't really remember the sequence of the movie or anything like that. So yeah, so he said that he's gonna start pumping them out in December of 2018, then 2020, 2022, and 2023. And it's crazy to think that he's planning something for 2023. Like that's really far away. I'm probably gonna be graduating college by then, I think. So, or like pretty much ending my undergraduate years in college. So that's pretty crazy to believe. But yeah, James Cameron, he's gonna do these things, and you know, James Cameron made Titanic. People were like, "What? Titanic? That's dumb." Biggest box office in history. Then he comes back like how how many years later to do Avatar. People were like, "What? Blue Dudes?" And then it beat Titanic. So this guy has the two biggest box office movies in history, and he's just planning on making four more of these things. So James Cameron is rolling around in cash, and he could do whatever the hell he wants. It's just, you know, if the first movie bombs, is the second one that's gonna come out? You know, who knows? But anyway, back to superheroes. Yay! More casting news. This time for Thor Ragnarok, and they cast Tessa Thompson, the Scarlet we saw in Creed, who played Michael B. Jordan's love interest in the movie. And I thought she did a very good job in that movie. No specific details about her role in the film, although it was said that she's going to play a kind of superhero in quotation marks. So this has led people to believe she will play Valkyrie. I guess Valkyrie, again, I'm not too familiar with the comics that much, but I looked up, and Valkyrie's like the leader of like this task force that Odin hires to protect as the Asgardians. But again, like we last saw, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the last Thor movie, Loki basically takes position of his dad as Odin. So we have to see how that plays out. But this also means that she could serve as a romantic character for Thor, since it was also reported that Natalie Portman's character is not returning to the movie. So, you know, Thor and Hulk are gonna be, you know, adventuring from planet to planet, in space. So this makes perfect sense if Valkyrie, you know, leans onto Thor, hits him up. I think that would work out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. I love Natalie Portman, but you know she ain't gonna show up in the new movie. You know, Thor is Thor. So, all right. Next is really exciting news also, and that is that Deadpool 2 has been officially confirmed. Not a big surprise, really. We saw it in the after credits and stuff. Deadpool said Cable's coming in the next movie, but now it's officially confirmed by Fox that Ryan Reynolds is returning as Deadpool, the Merc with the Mouth, but also that Tim Miller is returning to direct, which is very exciting to me. And again, it's no surprise. It smashed the box office. It's the highest grossing rated R movie in history now. People loved it. Critics loved it. It was one of those movies that really surprised a lot of people, and I'm very happy to say that we're getting a sequel. This is very exciting. I hope it comes out sooner than later because I want to see Deadpool and Cable. And yeah, I'm very excited that this is confirmed. All right, next up is casting and more casting, and this time for Steven Spielberg's project Ready Player One, which I'm very intrigued to see actually. And it's a pretty big casting since Steven Spielberg has become a really big fan of this dude, and so have I after seeing him in Bridge of Spies, and that is Mark Rylance. He is cast in one of the biggest parts of the movie, actually, as this from the source material, and that is the creator of the Oasis, which is like the virtual world that the player goes. Excuse me. And this is the fourth movie these two are going to be working on together. They already did Bridge of Spies. He's going to be in the upcoming BFG, which comes out this summer. And before Ready Player, oh no, actually, yeah, I think before Ready Player One comes out, they're going to be doing a movie called The Kidnapping of Edgardo Morata, which I haven't really heard too much about, but it's said that Mark Rylance is cast in that movie. So yeah, they're doing two movies before Ready Player One, and then they're going to be working with him again. Um, I love Mark Rylance. You know, he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He stole the movie from Tom Hanks in Bridge of Spies. I didn't think he upset Sylvester Stallone, in my opinion. And this guy is a great actor. He's a theater actor, and I think more and more people are gonna learn about him. I hope they do because he really deserves the credit. He's such a great actor, and he's joining an already stacked cast with Ty Sheridan, Simon Pegg, and Olivia Cooke. This movie seems great. I have not read the book Ready Player One. I'm probably not going to just because I don't want to spoil myself with movies. I hate doing that. But I'm definitely gonna go see it when it comes out. I'm very much looking forward to it. So yeah. All right, next is a trailer I want to talk about, and I know I don't really talk too much about trailers in the news section, but it's a pretty big movie coming out this year, and that is Doctor Strange. Now let's go back to superheroes for a bit, and this trailer was awesome in my opinion. I'm not really familiar with this character at all, but from the trailer, it looks cool, crazy, and very trippy. I've learned about him listening to other people's podcasts and people who are very well known, not well known, very educated in comic books. Let me say that know about Doctor Strange, and I've read his comics. They've talked about him and what he's all about and stuff, and I think this premise is really cool. They've got Scott Derrickson directing it, and he's like a horror director mainly. So I'm very excited to see his spin on this crazy superhero. But the biggest thing about this movie is the cast for me because the cast has some of my favorite actors. Benedict Cumberbatch is obviously a great actor in my opinion. Rachel McAdams is also a very talented actress. But then you got the two, and before I get to the two big ones, you have Tilda Swinton, who plays the Ancient One, who looks amazing in this trailer. She was my favorite part about the trailer, actually. I dug her white robe and her bald head. And that one scene where she punches the soul out of Doctor Strange, that was amazing. But we also got two shots at the two actors I'm looking forward to seeing, and that would be Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's playing Baron Mordo, and Mads Mikkelsen, who is playing a villain, but we don't really know who his villain is yet. We saw both of these guys in the trailer, and they both look amazing. And Mads Mikkelsen is becoming one of my favorite actors ever. I love this guy, and Chiwetel Ejiofor is also someone that not many people know, but I think they should because this guy is a very class, top grade level actor. So this movie is stacked with talent, and again, being Marvel, I have full confidence that this movie is gonna kick ass. I believe it comes out in November. So yeah, I'm very excited. All right, up next we have confirmation that the Men in Black Jump Street movie is happening and they're getting crossed over, and the title was announced as MIB 23. You know, I guess I'm looking forward to it. I love the Jump Street, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. I love those movies. Men in Black, the first one I was a really big fan of as a kid. The next two I didn't really watch that much. They're pretty forgettable. But I'm excited. James Bobbin, who directed The Muppets, is set to direct this movie with Lord and Miller producing. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum return, uh, and it will serve as a reboot to the Men in Black series. This movie could go one of two ways. It could be a stinker, and the Men in Black series could just like go on its own, and they could split up, or it could be a really fun movie actually because the Jump Street movies are pretty crazy and out there, but it wouldn't really make much sense if they continued down the same route. You know what, like at the end of 22 Jump Street, you saw the end credits with them going to chef school and scuba diving school and dance classes and stuff. So, you know, in this movie, if they get contacted by the Men in Black and they gotta go fight aliens, that would be amazing. But it just depends on how they do it and how they execute it, and also who they cast as the two main Men in Black, since obviously Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are not coming back. So those are the big questions up in the air right now. All right. Next is one of the biggest pieces of news is to me, and one of the pieces of news I'm really looking forward to and really excited it dropped. And that is we got our first look at the upcoming movie Kong Skull Island, the reboot to the King Kong character. And they showed a set video from the filming with short interviews with Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston, also Jason Mitchell. And this thing looks great from the set video. It's set during the Vietnam War, so I don't think it's going to be the typical King Kong story. So I don't think we're going to see the Kong v New York scene with him climbing the Empire State Building, which I'm totally fine with, especially with the cast they have. They have Brie Larson, who's an Academy Award winning actress. They have Tom Hiddleston, who's also a great British actor. Then they got the two Compton boys, Jason Mitchell and I forgot his name. It just blanked on me. But yeah, the guy who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, he's also in this movie. And then they got Samuel L. Jackson and John Goodman. This cast is amazing. The set video looked awesome, and I'm very excited because King Kong's one of my favorite monsters ever. I don't like him as much as Godzilla, but I definitely want to see his movie, and then obviously the big battle, which is King Kong v Godzilla, which is coming out in 2020, I believe. So this is the first introduction to King Kong, and I'm very much looking forward to that. All right. Up next is a bidding war for movie rights, and that is bidding rights for the Pokemon live action movie. Hell yeah. Pokemon is one of the most popular video games and IPs in pop culture. Everyone knows what Pokemon is, I assume. Pikachu, Charizard. People love Pokemon, and I love Pokemon too. I was just playing it a little while ago on my phone. I grew up with Pokemon. I love it. I love the anime. I've seen lots of the movies. There's 19 animated Pokemon movies out there, which is a lot. But there's never been a live action one. But now, the Pokemon studio is giving the rights away. They're saying a big studio, come over here and buy these rights and make a movie. And it's at the center between Warner Brothers, Sony, and Legendary Entertainment. These are three of the biggest movie studios out there right now. To me, I wouldn't want to see Sony take it on just because I think they're a little bit like they're just increasing their money supply. They kind of dip down, and that's kind of why they had to get Marvel's help and Disney's help with Spider-Man, because their company was on the downfall. So now they're slowly rising, but I wouldn't really trust them with Pokemon, since it's very close to my heart. The one I want to see take it on is Legendary, because I think Legendary would do an amazing kick-ass job with Pokemon, because this is the company behind the Godzilla movie, who's behind the Kong Skull Island movie. They did the Hangover movies. They did 300. Yeah, I think Legendary would do a great job with a Pokemon live action movie, especially after seeing the Jungle Book, and the technology used in that movie was mind blowing, totally mind blowing. So they could pull this off. They could make these Pokemon look pretty real next to humans. So sign me up, please. I can't wait for this. All right, next is probably the most kick-ass piece of news I have to deliver, and that is Jason Statham versus a big-ass dinosaur. Yep, that is right. When it comes to action stars, there are few who touch Jason Statham as the modern British badass. And now it seems his future endeavors have taken him on the path of a big-ass dinosaur. Um, and in this upcoming movie called Meg, which is being directed by John Turteltaub, who did the National Treasure movies. Apparently, it's said that Jason Statham is going to fight a megalodon, which is like the prehistoric version of a really big shark, which hence why the movie's called Meg. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, I can't wait. Like just the thought of Jason Statham and a big dinosaur facing off is incredible. Um, I can't wait for this actually. And the director kind of scares me a little bit because I'm not a huge fan of the National Treasure movies. Um, but maybe he could do something great with this movie. Even it doesn't even have to be like this great cinematic piece of art which wins Best Picture. I just want to see a kick-ass movie with action, because that's what Jason Statham brings to the table. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this, and who wouldn't be actually? Alright, guys, that will do it for the news. And before we head on to the final topic of conversation, I want to tell you guys about the Check This Out movie of the week. And this week, it's a very small movie called The Survivalist. Now, I checked this movie out a couple of weeks ago. It's an indie film for sure. It's probably as indie as you can get. It's directed by Stephen Singleton. Actually, it's Fingleton. My computer autocorrected my notes. Thanks a lot. But yeah, Stephen Fingleton directed it. And it's out on Blu-ray or DVD, or you could get it online. And it's a very, very intense film. It's considered a sci-fi film, even though there's not really like science fiction aspects. It's just that it's set in another time where people don't really interact, and you're really like in the dark about what's going on. You just know that this guy lives on his own, but then he runs into two women, and he has to decide what he's gonna do with his life now. And it was only made for around $1 million, so it's pretty crazy how good this movie is for being made for nothing, really. And what's really surprising is that the main lead, he really looks like Michael Fassbender, to be honest, but it's not. He's another actor, but he did a really fantastic job in this movie. It's a very slow-moving movie, but it's really good, and I highly recommend it. All right, now to finish off the podcast, I'm going to talk about a topic that just recently came up, and it really caught my attention because it surprised me more than anything. And that is that a couple of days ago, AMC, as in the AMC Theater Company, released a tweet saying that they're going to test out, like, they're going to, they're going to have tests in their theaters, in particular movie theaters, where they will allow people to text. Now, using your phone in a movie theater isn't like against a law. Like, it's just something that is second nature when you're in the movie theater. It's what you do. You don't talk on your phone, you don't use it, you don't text or whatever. But lots of people still do it anyway. And frankly, it pisses me off, because I've been in many situations where I see lights like all over the place, and it really gets annoying. I've had people have full-on conversations on the phone while the movie's playing. I've had people pick up the phone. I've had people like take pictures of the screen with the flash on. And it's very, very annoying. And when they sent this tweet out, I was very surprised. And at that time, I was heading for the Civil War screening, and when I got there was security up the ass, mainly because of pirating and recording, most of all. But the security said right from the beginning, if we see a phone, you will be escorted out, and that's how I wish all movie theaters were, because I hate when people use their cell phones. Um, it's one of the most annoying things, next to talking loudly, and just the fact that AMC would consider this even caught my attention, and I was very disappointed at them. But thankfully, all of us movie fans rallied together, and they bombarded AMC with really negative tweets like, "Guess I'm not going to AMC theaters anymore." And AMC, you got to be kidding me! This is ridiculous, outrageous. Why would you even consider letting people text in movie theaters? Now, that being said, I'm pretty sure AMC would have done this in a way where they would they would section these theaters off and name them like texting allowed movie theaters. So going into the theater, you would be warned, this movie theater, we allow texting and phone usage in the theater, so you wouldn't be upset if you walked into a theater and then everyone's using their phone like there's no big deal. But AMC quickly, like a couple hours later after releasing their first tweet, tweeted back saying that they heard us, they understood us, and they're not even going to consider it, which is like the best thing they could have done, because using your phone in a movie theater is horrible. And if you do it, before I used to be pretty shy when it came to it, I'd have to ignore it because I wouldn't really say anything. But it's been happening to me quite a lot when I go to the movie theaters, and I just got fed up with it really after one time recently. I went to go see Zootopia, and this lady behind me was just like having a conversation on the phone. She even said, "Yeah, I'm not." She said, "I'm not busy. I'm just watching a movie." And in my head, I was just like, "Are you kidding me? Like, really? You have to say that?" And so yeah, now I'm at like my peak, and I shush people if they talk, and now I'm gonna tell people first politely, if they could turn off their phones, because really, the movie theater is like my second home, and I want my home to be respected and not like violated, because like I hate when my movie theater experience isn't good, because then it just takes away from the movie to me. And even if the movie could be really great, if I don't feel comfortable and I don't feel at ease in the movie theater, then I'm not gonna like the movie as much. That's why for Civil War, my experience was awesome, except for this one guy who was kind of talking in the back, right behind me. Um, but I was shushing him and stuff, and then at one point he left for a while, which I don't know why he left, but I was happy about it since it was pretty quiet. Um, no phones, no talking at all, and that was one of the greatest experiences ever. The same with when I went to go see Star Wars. Thankfully, everyone was respectful, and probably because they're hardcore fans, and they understand what it means, and they're like, why are we gonna use our phones? We're watching the movie. And that's why I don't understand. If you pay money, especially now when movie tickets are always escalating in price, depending where you live, I live in Florida, and the movie ticket prices where I live fluctuate, but usually on regular days they're around like $9. If you go on certain days, they're $5, which I always try to take advantage of. But yeah, if you spend around $10, $11 on a movie ticket, plus the concessions, which is even more expensive, and you walk into a movie and you start using your phone, I don't see why you even bothered coming in here, because what, just focus on the movie. Like, why are you talking? Don't ask questions. Ask questions when the movie's done. Because if it's a good movie, your questions will probably be answered. But, if it's the first 10 minutes of the movie and you're asking questions, then I don't know I don't know what's up with you. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk to you guys about this topic really quick. And let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, like what has been your worst experience with the person in the movie theater, either texting or talking very loud. And do you think that AMC was smart in, right away noticing their mistake? So yeah, so that will do it for my fourth podcast on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe and like as always. Also, if you wouldn't mind following my Twitter, it's at ordinary underscore film, I believe. Let me check that out right quick for you guys, since I should be prepared, but no, it's just at ordinary film. And also, I just recently made an Instagram, and that is at good feeling underscore film. So yeah, so follow both of those, and it would really mean a lot. Also, like and subscribe. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you guys next time.